Hello traders and welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Charts. Let me lead with this. Last week was the strongest US economic data week of 2026. And I'm talking across the board. Manufacturing, services, jobs, labor demand, everything came in hot. And instead of sending markets higher, it sent gold to 3 months low and triggered a Nasdaq sell-off. That tells you everything about where we are right now. Let me walk you through it, and without further ado, let's start with the economic calendar. We start with Monday. Okay, so on Monday, we started with we had New Zealand holiday, which was the King's birthday. But it started with Powell speaking at the Volcker award ceremony. Volcker, by the way, was a Fed chair back in the day, a few decades ago. His last major public remarks before, I'm talking about Powell now, his last major public remarks before Warsh takes the Fed chair on June 16th. Powell stayed cautious and balanced, no new signals, no drama, but the backdrop of 3 dissents of the April meeting and hawkish FOMC minutes meant markets were already positioned for a hawkish successor, which is Warsh. Then the data hit. We had the S&P Manufacturing PMI. The previous was 54.5. The forecast was an increase to 55.3. The actual came in as lower than expected, but still higher than the previous at 55.1. Then we had the ISM Manufacturing PMI. By the way, this number is positive. The S&P Global Manufacturing PMI is pretty positive. It's 5 points above 50, and since it's above 50, it's expansionary, so the manufacturing sector is expanding. Then we had the ISM Manufacturing PMI. The previous was 52.7. The forecast was an increase to 53.3, and the actual came in even higher than both at 54 points, which is also what? Expansionary. And then finally we had the ISM manufacturing prices. The previous was 84.6. The forecast was 85.3. So there was an expectation of higher prices. The actual came in lower, which is somewhat positive for inflation. It means that prices are lower than expected, but they're still relatively high. And then we move to Tuesday. That's it for Monday. We move to Tuesday. All right. Now, before I tell you about Tuesday, let me tell you about the main event or the wild card. Iran obviously is still the story. Before we get to Tuesday's data and before we get to the more important data, let me tell you this. Trump told ABC News on Monday that he believes an agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could be reachable within a week. By Thursday, Iran halted contacts with Washington after Israeli strikes in Lebanon and was reportedly weighing closing both the Strait of Hormuz and Bab el-Mandeb. So Trump then said he would be open to meeting Iran's new supreme leader if there is an agreement, but also warned that Iran killing US troops would be a good reason to restart the war. Oil, of course, oscillated between $100 and $107 all week. Gold swung $150 intraday on multiple sessions. Until the Strait reopens permanently, every data print is filtered through this lens. Okay, so now let's go back to the calendar and talk about Tuesday. So on Tuesday, Tuesday gave us two contrasting stories. We had the Eurozone CPI flash for May came in at 3.2%, which is pretty high, given that the CPI in Europe was 1.9% before the war. So it's not only that they reached their inflation target, but they were even below the target. In line with forecasts, of course, but up from the 3% in April. The market is now pricing 2 to 3 ECB hikes this year. So we were talking about cuts before the war. Now we're talking about hikes. The rate cut narrative in Eurozone is dead for now. Like it's off the table, and I don't think it's only in Europe. It's almost everywhere else in the world. Then the job openings came from the US, unexpectedly jumped 738,000 in April to 7.618 million, well above the 6.88 million economists were expecting. This represents the highest figure since May 2024. That's a massive 1 month surge in labor demand, and it immediately flipped the narrative for Friday's NFP. Markets started pricing much stronger payrolls number than the 85,000 consensus suggested. Okay, so that's it for Tuesday. We move now to Wednesday. We had an all-day holiday in Korea, South Korea. It was the election day. Nothing of high impact. We can skip through that. And then we start with the ADP. Okay, so Wednesday was the busiest day of the week. ADP showed private employers added 122,000 jobs in May, the strongest month since January 2025, and above the 110 expected, or 118, sorry. It was 118,000 expected. ISM non-manufacturing, which is the services PMI, increased to 54.5 in comparison with an expectation of 53.7, and it's above the previous and higher than the previous of 53.6. That's very positive. That's very positive for the services sector in general. Anything that is non-manufacturing, and of course, especially that's above 50, then it's expansionary. Okay. Remaining firmly in the expansion territory, as I said. The prices index increased to 71.3, okay, in comparison to 72.3, the highest level since August 2022, if we compare on a yearly basis, okay? So both services and manufacturing ISM gauges are now beating simultaneously for the first time since mid-2022. So the US economy is giving signs of that the economy is doing well and it's re-accelerating. But in my opinion, I think that's just like the calm before the storm. But the standout print was crude oil inventories, a draw of minus 7.974 million barrels, almost a shortage of 8 million barrels. That's a huge draw, nearly triple the 2.9 million barrel forecast. Global observed inventories drew by 117 million barrels in April alone. That's globally. According to IEA data, the EIA expects global inventories to fall by an average of 8.5 million barrels per day in Q2 2026. This is the third consecutive week of mega draws. WTI, of course, surged back above the $105 per barrel. The inflation pipeline is being refueled in real time. All right, so that's it for Wednesday. And by the way, guys, if you remember, I mentioned this many times before. The ADP non-farm employment change is a preview of the non-farm payrolls that comes 2 days later on Friday. So this came positive, so markets were expecting to receive a positive print on Friday from the NFP payrolls, the non-farm payrolls, sorry. Okay, so Thursday gave us the first warning signal of the week. Initial jobless claims hit the highest level since February 7th, 2026. So it was dropping, and now it hit the highest level since Feb 7th. The reading came at 225,000 jobless claims in comparison to 214,000 jobless claims expected. Economists had been expecting soft softer payrolls numbers after mixed ADP and claims data. So this reinforced caution heading into Friday. Now, then Trump spoke from the Oval Office, mixed signals on Iran. Deal is possible, but escalation is also on the table. So oil stayed elevated and gold traded cautiously. So yeah, at this point, we don't listen to what Trump says because he says one thing and the opposite in the same day. So yeah, not very important to listen to this guy. Okay, now the NFP day, the monster beat. On Friday, non-farm payrolls rose 172,000 in May, following the 179,000 increase revised up from 115 in April, and surpassing the market expectation of an 85,000 reading by a wide margin. It almost doubled. It's almost double the forecast. The revisions added a combined 93,000 to March and April. The unemployment rate held at 4.3%, which is historically low, for the third consecutive month, a tick below the FOMC's own 2026 projection of 4.4. Average hourly earnings came in at 0.3% as expected, with the annual wages moderating to 3.4%. So what was the market reaction? Following the data, the US dollar climbed to around 99.8, its highest level since April 7th. US Treasury yields moved higher, with the benchmark 10-year rising 8 basis points to 4.53%, and gold dropped to around $4,370 before closing the day at around 4,330 maybe. Its lowest since March, of course. That's a 3-month low. Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammock, the most hawkish Fed voter in 2026, stated it is reasonable to keep rates steady for now, but if recent trends persist, it might soon be necessary to act again against higher inflation. Based on Fed Funds futures data, there is now a 67% chance the Federal Reserve will hike rates in December 2026. The Nasdaq sold off over 1.5% on Friday alone, the largest one-day drop of the year. I think it was the largest one-day drop since April 2025. That's because the market processed what a strong economy plus inflation means for rates. Not a recession trade, a rate hike trade. Okay, so that's it for this week. Here's the brutal summary of the week. The data is undeniably strong. The US economy is not breaking down. Manufacturing is at a 4-year high. Services are expanding. Labor demand is surging. NFP doubled expectations. But here's the paradox. A stronger economy only makes the Fed's problem worse. CPI at 3.8%. ISM prices at 82 points. Oil inventories draining at a record pace. And rate hikes now have a 67% probability in December. Kevin Warsh walks into his first FOMC meeting in 9 days, which is, or 9 days, almost like a couple of weeks, on June 16th, with the hottest labor market since late 2025, re-accelerating economic data, and oil supply in a structural crisis. His first words as Fed chair will tell us whether this becomes a hiking cycle or a hold. This is the single most important market event of June. We'll be waiting for the FOMC meeting, and we'll be closely watching for Kevin Warsh's tone. If he's going to be more hawkish, if he's going to give more forward guidance, if he's going to give less forward guidance, that all matters. Now, of course, gold is at 4,320s, 30s, a 3-month low, and every trader is asking the same question. When does gold stop being crushed by rate hike risk and start pricing in the inflation itself? The answer depends entirely on whether Warsh signals accommodation or aggression. So watch June 16th And before then, we're going to have a couple more episodes of Beyond the Charts. So I'll be with you on a weekly basis to wrap it up for you and make sure that you understand what's going on around you. That's it for today. I hope you had a great episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned what's happening around. And as always, trade responsibly, be protected at all times. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye bye.